thanks for being here. I'm Anna, and today I want to share with you one of the easiest fun fold cards you can ever make. In addition, I want to show you how to decorate the way I decorated mine, which is so cute, using a punch in a different way than you might think of. So the fun fold we're making opens with this one little flap. It is so simple. You can make a lot of these in just a short amount of time if you want to. And I love how this turned out with this cute bee on the front. Here are the products I used. I actually used the new Hello Ladybug stamp set and Ladybug Builder Punch to make this bee. So the fun way to get a little bit more use out of this is a collection you might like to have in your stamping collection. And I have already been using this stamp set a lot. We are using this as well. So the materials you'll need to make this card, you need a card base that measures 5.5 by 8.5, and it needs to be scored at 1 1/4 inches and 5.5. Then you'll need either some designer paper, or for mine I used embossed cardstock. It measures 2 3/4 by 5 1/4, 1 by 5 1/4. And then for the inside we need a piece of white that measures 4 by 5 1/4. And I added a piece that is embossed to the bottom that measures 1 by 4 inches. To create the bee, you'll need some more of that bumblebee cardstock, a little bit of black, and then some vellum. So let's go ahead and create that bee first, and then I'll show you how to put together the rest of the card. So we need our Ladybug Builder Punch. We are going to punch out 2 black ladybugs. We'll call this the ladybug and this the wing. We need 2, but the second one, I want to put some of our adhesive sheets on the back before I do that, because it is going to make it easier to attach everything together. So if you haven't used these adhesive sheets before, they are a lifesaver when it comes to detailed pieces that you have a difficult time putting adhesive on the back. So you cut a piece approximately the size of what you're going to be punching or die cutting. I added that to the back. Now I will punch just like normal. And the entire back side of this is covered in that adhesive. So we need 2 of those black ones. We need 1 punched out of the bumblebee cardstock. And then we need 2 wings, 2 sets of wings, punched out of vellum. Now we need to do a little bit of trimming to get our pieces the way we want them for the bee. So first I want to trim the bumblebee one, the yellow one. And I basically just want to cut the head off. Then the one with the adhesive, this is going to lay right here on top. The one with the adhesive, I want to cut, I'm going to cut straight a little bit lower than where that head was. And then I am just going to cut pieces. And I want to keep these fairly straight, or they can be messy and zigzag if you want. They don't have to be even. If you want them to be really nice and straight, you may want to use a trimmer to do this. But I am trying to keep them in order so that I have an idea of which piece goes where. And I'm going to alternate. We're only going to use every other piece. So if I keep them in order, then I know which pieces I'm supposed to use and which pieces I am not. And these may be a little bit hard for you to see on my black mat here. But let's go ahead and attach this bumblebee piece. I feel like this is confusing, the yellow. I just need to start calling it yellow. We'll attach this. And then we can start attaching these other pieces over top. So I'll turn this around facing the same direction as this piece was before I started cutting. And like I said, I want to use every other piece. So I think I will start with this one. And since we have that adhesive on the back, all I have to do is get the paper backing started coming off. And it's basically like a sticker. I like to use my take your pick tool just to poke at the side. And that helps to get that paper off. Now, like I said, you can be as picky as you want as far as how straight these are, if they're perfect or not perfect. I liked a little bit of a imperfect look, and it's easier to create that way as well, which was nice. Now, if you don't use the adhesive sheets and you use glue, one benefit is you will have a little bit of time to adjust these pieces before that glue dries. So these adhesive sheets, I don't have too much trouble removing the paper backing just with my fingernails, but you can use that take your pick tool if you want to, okay? So we have the stripes on now, and let's go ahead. I'm just gonna add a tiny bit of glue to the very top of these wings and lay that on top. And then for the second set of wings, of course, you can just do one if you want to, but for the second set, what I did, I'm going to fold down the top just a tiny bit. Right there, I'm going to place some glue on the little flap on the bottom. And set this here on top of this set of wings. And then I'm going to place something heavy on that to allow it to dry for a few minutes. So I'll do that over here on the side, and that will be ready once we get the rest of our card put together. So let's go ahead and get the majority of the card put together so you can see that fun fold coming to life. So this was the card base. I already scored it and used my bone folder to give it nice creases. I do want to actually, before we do that, let's stamp one thing onto this piece, and then we'll be able to assemble everything. So this is a little bit untraditional, and you are more than welcome to do your stamping before you emboss this piece. But every once in a while, I stamp after the fact. Usually it has to do with not planning ahead and not knowing how my card is going to come together. And then after it's embossed, I think, oh, I should have stamped on that. But we are going to do this right here. Normally, like I said, I would recommend stamping first before you emboss. But I want to show you that this is possible to make this work and look good even when it's embossed. So what I'm going to do, I'm using basic gray ink, and I am going to stamp several times. Now, to try to get into those cracks a little bit, what I'm going to do is bring in my foam pad and repeat that again and just press a little bit harder. With some embossing folders, it's pretty easy to stamp after you have embossed. With some, it's a little bit more difficult. This one's a little bit more difficult, but I like the textured look on the greeting. So just something to keep in mind if you forget to stamp before you emboss. Now let's go ahead and put all of this together. So I have these two pieces to go on the front. And I have already prepared a piece to go on the inside that I really like how it turned out. And every once in a while, my Seal Plus is a little bit too strong, especially when paper has been embossed. So I'll go ahead and use some glue this time. So we'll lay that on. What I like about this card the most is the details, and we will be adding those here in just a minute. Okay, so we'll add those pieces on the front. We can go ahead and put the piece on the inside that I prepared. And this shows you a little bit of that detail we're going to add on the rest of the card here with the little path of the bee. Okay, now our bee should be mostly dry. And the bee will go up here. So what I want to do is make a little path from where to show like where the bee has flown. So I'll do this with my black marker, the fine tip part of it. And I'm going to start up here and do just little dash marks. We're going to come down this way, curve back over on this side, and then do a little loop-de-loop up and around. I think that's what I do a lot of days. I just go in circles, not really sure what I'm trying to accomplish. Anybody else feel that way? Okay, so now we have the little path added here. Before I attach the bee, I do want to add some ribbon. This is some of our glittered organdy ribbon that is absolutely beautiful in my opinion. I just absolutely love it. And we're going to do some impromptu using of a different adhesive since that Seal Plus is not agreeing with my embossed paper. I'll use two pieces of tear and tape. And this is another one. I love to use my take your pick tool to pull this paper backing off. It helps a ton. This is one. I do have a little bit harder time getting the paper backing off of the tear and tape. The take your pick tool helps a lot. Okay, now I am going to wrap this back and forth. I don't know exactly where I want it, but after I get it in place, I can lay that bee over top and see if I like the way it looks. And I do. I think that looks cute. So we'll trim the ends. And I like how our focal point here, the bee and the ribbon, can overhang that little flap right there. So let's use a few dimensionals. I had pulled out my black dimensionals thinking I would want them for this. I really like using the black dimensionals for certain projects. I thought for this one they may be good in case I thought they might show from underneath. The black would be good, but this bee is large enough. I think white will work just fine. And now I want to add a few of these classic matte dots just for some embellishment. So looking at that greeting again, I will just mention this. I have a little bit extra sticky coming out of the end of my take your pick tool, so I'll have to break that off. Looking at that, if this bothers me, if you get into this situation, something you could do is actually go back and use your gray marker to fill in some of those spots. So that's something to keep in mind if you don't like the way that looks. Or, of course, just do your stamping before you emboss. So we are almost done here. So I hope you enjoyed this video. It gives you another idea how to use some of our brand new products from our new January through June mini catalog for Stampin' Up! You can find links to all the products I've used in the video description below. You can also find a link to my website where I have tons and tons of inspiration for you and lots of card project ideas. So thanks so much for being here today. I hope you have a blessed day, and I hope you'll be back again next time when I'll be here helping you to hand make with love.